Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, it's a great committee, the Primary Production Select Committee, to work on, and having a bill like the Agricultural Compounds and Veterinary Medicines Amendment Bill, we really got our teeth into it, and it was we had a lot of no pun intended, and we had a lot of good evidence that came before the committee, and it was fantastic. I think what the heart of this bill is about protection of data. And I guess the only crunch point came, particularly with the Green member of the committee, was around the length of the data protection, and I think that's obvious in the report back to the House. But I think, Mr. Speaker, certainly from my own practical point of view, where you have a chemical, in which I've seen a fungicide, which is commonly used in cereal production, it was registered in New Zealand for that use. To be able to use that in horticulture and viticulture, the company needs to do the work and behind the scenes, do all the research, get all the data around making a label claim. You can't use it until it has a label claim for a particular crop, and that costs a lot of money. I've seen the trial work in the field. It is a lot of work out there. It's hard work, and all of that data and the costs associated with that, companies simply won't do the work if they won't get a return on that investment. As it stood in the past, if they didn't have an adequate period of time, as has already been alluded to, the size of the market just dictates that they will not make enough money and recoup that investment, so they simply won't do it. And so, and the same thing goes for veterinary medicines. So a medicine that could be used for a compound for a particular ailment or condition in an animal, it may not necessarily be one to claim for another animal, but they would need to have the trial work done for it used in a slightly either a different formulation or for a different condition, which would need different doses and so on. And all that work costs a lot of money. And I think the bill has therefore has covered all of that, but the Select Committee, during our work, we expanded what was recommended in the bill, and we've gone back and recommended, or sorry, what was in the bill, we've recommended an extension on periods due to the evidence that came back to that Select Committee. And it was really quite heartening to hear from the industry. And as I say, it wasn't unanimous on those particular points, the length of time, but very important nonetheless.
That's right.
Also want to talk about reassessments for data protection. There was no existing protection for data when products were being reassessed, and that can happen from time to time, and so we recommended extending that to be covered under Clause 4A in Section 29(3) and Clause B, Section 30 in the Act, and we're taking that out to 5 years. Once again, the evidence was that data costs a lot of money to be collected, and it deserves some protection under the Act. We also amended Section 74A1A to clarify confidential information, because as it stood under the Act, there was some room for doubt that the Director-General could disclose confidential data to MPI officials. So, Mr. Speaker, I think this is a fantastic bill, and I really commend it to the House. Thank you.